everyone, Kelly of Kelbell Studio here with the second video of the Corset Couture series. This is going to be your template this month, and you know what to do with it as far as cutting it out and adding extra distressing to the edges, because I covered that in the last video, so if you need a refresher, go refer to the first video. And if you recall, the inspiration that I was using for this month was the lovely little Degas ballerina, so that's why your template looks this way, and why I'll show you in a minute why I'm not doing it this way. I'll leave a link to the template in this video, also in the description, so that you can go get this at your leisure. And I notice that there are quite a few of you downloading this, but nobody ever says anything, so that's curious to me. I'd love to hear your comments, feedback, and whatnot, so don't be shy. Okay, I wrote a blog post about the corset that I'm currently working on, which is this one, and I don't know that the photos really did it justice, really showed off the dimension in this piece, but you can see how big this is, how dimensional it is. I can fit my fingers in there. And I'm still playing around with how full I want these to be, or how big I want these to be, how flat I want these to be, so I may or may not ever offer a tutorial on how to do these. After all, girl's got to keep some of her secrets, right? Anyway, I'm starting to notice Etsy listings for pieces made with my templates. So if I'm seeing those things crop up, it's about time to change my game, don't you think? Anyway, I know you guys all secretly don't like me for that, but you know, that's the way creativity goes sometimes, you know? So I'm going to embellish this, and this video is going to be about how I embellish it, which you can apply to the flat ones as well. So anyway, let's get started. I'm calling this corset Tattered Alice appropriately. I really like the uneven edges. It's really arty, and it's different. It's a different approach for me. So to help fill out the tattered look of this, well, this is going to be fun to lace up too. I'll actually, I don't know if I'm going to use crochet wire, or I have some fabric that I ripped, so something like this might be awesome to help complete that, you know, tattered look. I don't know, I think so. We'll get to that later though. Right now, I found this lovely little cream paper, and it has a shimmer to it because there's actually kind of a watermark. I don't know if you can tell the shimmer on it. I'm not going to sit here and try and show this to you for the sake of not wasting your time, right? And I experimented around with adding some distress ink on here. I'm not sure I really like this, so I may just go without it on the paper. But what we're going to do, you know, I gave it some rips here and there, and I edged it with some decollage scissors, and this is crumpled up, so it has a very soft kind of fabric-like feel to it. So see, you can get a tattered look out of paper as well. But I am going to add this. It's kind of antique-y looking lace fabric that I actually found about a year ago, and I do that a lot. I find stuff and I like it. I don't know how I'm going to use it until later, but we can just sort of ruffle this up a little bit, and you know, you can give it more length in areas and less length in other areas, so something like this, and then just layer it over your gathered paper. And it fits under here something like this. So I've got this tattered-y, arty look to this already, and I don't know, maybe the distress ink will work and if I pull it up into the fabric a little bit, but I should pull out on this so you can see this better. There we go. You can see that a little better. So I'm going to start by putting this on the bottom of this, and I'll be back to show you how that looks when it's done. So this is what our Alice looks like after the lace has been put on. It's looking very tattered. I love this. Love it, love it, love it. And then the next thing I'll do is put the paper underneath it. Cute. Once I've added my paper, she's looking like this. I went back and cut this ruffle after I had crinkled it up and after it had already been glued on, and because of the texture of the paper, the scissors didn't cut it very well, so it kind of gave it this very uneven, feathery, even more of a tattered look, which is kind of one of those happy accidents. So she's almost looking kind of ballerina-ish, ballet-ish, something. Anyway, loving the arty look. So now what I can do, I can start working with this top edge a little bit. And I happen to have this little piece of scrap, which is actually quite perfect, because I can just, you know, go around and crinkle and gather it, very uneven, and just edge this top. I know it's kind of hard to see, but something like that. Here's how she looks with a little bit of edging around her, around that top edge. And I'm going to try adding some of this. It's tea dye distress ink, Tim Holtz distress ink, and I'm just going to add it with a Q-tip. I don't want to get too dark, just sort of suggesting a little bit of age. I just took some of the cotton off this Q-tip. We'll see what that does for me. And just, you know, dabbing it on here and there in places. You get the little edges here. So you can do this with your flat ones. I don't think there's anything that I'm doing here that can't be applied to a less dimensional corset. Just seems that everybody's loving that antique-y, aged, everything's vintage, right? Brocante. Anybody ever hear of that term, brocante? I never did until recently. Paris flea market. And she can be, our Alice can be anything we want her to be. So she's got a little bit ink on her, you know, looking ripped and torn and whatnot, just like an antique should, right? Okay, we are, well, I shouldn't say we, I am just about done with this. I've added some straps, and she's got her little corset laced up. These are kind of long. I don't know if I'll leave them long or cut them so that they don't hang out past the end, because when you hang it up, I think it's kind of distracting to have these things hanging down. I don't know. But anyway, so there's really only one thing left to do, which shouldn't come as a surprise to you, considering that I always add at least one of these to my work, seems like. So once we add this little thing, we'll call our tattered little Alice done. Yeah? I think so. Finito. Tattered Alice. So, everything that you could possibly want to know about putting together your template is in video number 1, so please check that out. And this video is just basically inspirational, just to give you some ideas about how you could embellish your pieces. So I hope you enjoyed this, and happy creating. See you next time. Thanks for joining me.